Welcome to Maximum Foods Inside Track, the second one of the year. Hope everyone's back in full swing and enjoying being back at work. I know it's a great time to be in Australia at the moment, blisteringly hot in most parts of the country, great weather and great times with family and friends. Let's have a look at the dairy commodities. So a bit of a follow-on from a fortnight ago, still no real clear direction in the market, but we know obviously of bearish sentiment out there across all of the commodities. In terms of whole milk powder rose by 1% last night on the GDT, which was in line with the futures market, but probably a more positive result against general sentiment. We did see some periphery markets coming back and buying. China were at around the same level of participation as last GDT. However, the big question mark in terms of China coming back into the market is still exactly that, a question mark. So it is Lunar New Year coming up, of course, so we did see a lot of buyers that may be on holidays, etc. So the next fortnight or month will be a bit more representative of market direction with whole milk powder. Let's have a look at skim milk powder. Skim milk powder seems to have found a little bit of a base from last night's auction. We're seeing in the EU supply is good of skim milk powder, and we're seeing pricing weakening. In the US, exports, or general exports, have been up about 10% on skim milk powder. So we do see plenty of product around, but some buyers coming back in the market. So we have seen a bit of interest at the current value for New Zealand and Australian skim, which is holding the price stable at the moment. Having a look at butter and AMF. Butter has declined over the last few GDTs. We saw a small decline again on the auction last night on butter and AMF. However, it is like the skim milk powder, it may have seen a little bit of a floor for now. We do see EU butter pricing into December and post New Year come back quite rapidly, and also US pricing we've seen a correction there. So we're now seeing sort of similar levels of pricing with EU, US and New Zealand, Australia, which is historically a bit different over the last 3 months, where New Zealand and Australia has been a lot better value. So things evening out there. Once again, a bit more of demand around the place globally in the last week, which has leveled things out. However, there is bearish sentiment around butter and AMF. Having a look at cheese now, if we look across the regions in the US, supply is good, demand is waning a little, so we're seeing some pricing drift off on the CME there, so some better value in mozzarella and cheddar from the States. In the EU, we've seen, like butter, retail demand drop off on cheese and export demand, so pricing coming off in the EU as well. In Australia and New Zealand, things are a bit more balanced. Retail and food service demand in Australia has been quite solid over the Christmas and start of the new year. So demand is holding up that supply. So we're seeing pricing and an outlook of a pretty steady to firm pricing for cheddar over the next 3 months in Australia and New Zealand. Finishing off with whey powder, so we do see a lot of pressure on the proteins, as we've spoken about over the last 2 months, being a higher cost to end user. We do see people that with discretionary income, obviously looking at their spending and maybe not spending as much on higher protein product. So WPC, WPI, we probably will continue to see some pressure on pricing over the next 3 to 6 months in non-hydro or sweet whey, with China not as bullish on purchasing in the feed market. We're seeing pricing relatively flat as well. So all in all, it's still, you probably would say the market is directionless. However, yeah, it was good and positive signs to see over the last auction that we saw buyers come back in, and we saw it stabilise after a few negative results. Have a great fortnight, and we'll see you again soon.